So let's talk about what Jeff Teague had to say about the Oklahoma City Thunder, how he claims that the 2014 and 15 Atlanta Hawks would have swept this OKC Thunder team. Yes, we're going to play the video and we're going to be reacting to it. But when you're looking at the matchup, let's just have some fun here. And you're going player by player. Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, Caro, Millsap, and Al Horford. Al Horford before he could shoot threes. I think he shot 23% from three that year. And you're looking at the Thunder, Hartenstein, Chet, J-Dub, Lou Dort, and SGA. And you're looking at who's scoring, who's able to create off the dribble more. So the Atlanta Hawks probably have Jeff Teague to fill that role, but Korver, he's a three-point sniper. Caro, he can't put the ball off the floor. Millsap can do it, but is he getting by Hartenstein and is he getting by Chet easily? Now, when you look at the defense of OKC, they're probably going to pay attention to Kyle Korver because he's their best shooter. They're probably going to do Caro and Horford at the time who can't shoot from three very well, and Millsap to beat them from the long ball. Back then, the three-point shooting was still developing, not like it is today with the spacing that they have out there with the centers, the forwards, and the guards. But look at the OKC defense. They could put Lou Dort on Kyle Korver and Jeff Teague. You can throw Caruso at times at those guys. You can throw J-Dub at Teague, Korver, or Caro. SGA can also play different matchups 1 through 3 because SGA is 6'6". And then you look at the rim protection they have. Chet is one of the best rim protectors out there. Hartenstein is a dog. And they're probably going to have a size advantage. And if you don't think so, well, Al Horford's 6'11". Paul Millsap is 6'7". Like, that series, OKC would destroy them in 4 games, in my opinion. You look at the Hawks that year, yes, they won a lot of games. And they played the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. It went 6 games with an older Joe Johnson. He was 33 years old at the time. They played the Wizards, took them 6 games, and John Wall only played half the series. Then you fast forward to the Eastern Conference Finals, they got swept, and Kyrie played half the series, and Kevin Love didn't play at all. And the argument is, well, we ran into LeBron James. Well, even if you beat LeBron James, doesn't mean you win the championship because LeBron made 8 consecutive finals. He didn't win every time he got to the finals because the argument is, well, they had a good team, and they did. But it does take a team to win championships. So if I take that Hawks team and I go up against the Golden State Warriors, am I taking Atlanta or am I taking Golden State? I'm taking Golden State. So let's go ahead and see what Jeff Teague had to say because, in my opinion, this is the craziest take of 2025. It is just ridiculous what they had to say here. And I love the 520 podcast. They are really funny. They're good dudes. But, man, this feels like Skip Bayless delusion, in my opinion.
Uncle Todd said, man, the 2014-15 would win the championship this year. Argue with your mama. What team is that, brother?
Yeah, he must be talking about my Hawks. Yeah, we definitely would have won a chip this year.
Damn.
Do you think y'all could have beat OKC?
Yeah.
Damn.
We played like them.
Yeah, they got SGA.
Yeah, he wasn't Brian. We lost to Brian.
He ain't Brian, but he a lot.
That matchup, SGA versus our team, I'm cool. Like, that's cool. The thing that we couldn't do, Brown was 6 and 8.
So you're cool with a guy in SGA who can drive the ball downhill and get to the cup. He's very deceptive with his ball dribbling and his head fakes, and he's able to blow by people. And the Minnesota Timberwolves had an athletic defense. They tried to press SGA, and he was torturing them in the first 2 games. When Minnesota decided to play off of him, he'd have his struggles at times, but we've seen defenses try to pack the paint, and SGA is still able to score at will. So to say like, oh, that's easy. No, it's not. SGA would probably drop. In my opinion, no disrespect. He's probably dropping 40 points on his Hawks team night in and night out and just torturing them. So to say like, oh, is SGA? Like, are you kidding me? Let's just take away the foul baiting that people try to claim for SGA. He would still get you 35 because he relies on that mid-range area, and he would just eat that defense for days. So I don't know what we're doing here.
260. We just couldn't buy it. Like, we had no size for him. Like, a guard like that, like we just said, like John, no disrespect to SGA, but like John Wall, all them was doing the same, not to the same magnitude, but we had played them. James Harden was doing that.
So it's interesting that Jeff Teague brought up John Wall and James Harden. So John Wall was averaging 17 points a game that year. He was a fantastic point guard, fun to watch, very athletic. I enjoyed watching John Wall when he played basketball. But to put him in the same breath as SGA is just an unfair comparison. But when you look at James Harden, that's not a bad call out because, again, James Harden's a bucket getter. But if you're saying they prepared you for the playoffs, you still got swept by one of the best, or probably to some people, the greatest player ever in LeBron James. So why weren't you ready for that matchup? I know he's 6'8". You brought that up. However, if you're saying, well, James Harden got you ready for the playoff run, and you're saying like, well, if we ran to SGA, it would have been easy. That's insane to me, especially the way he can get downhill. He gets to his spots at will. No matter what defensive scheme you throw at him, he has proven the past 2 playoff runs he can score at will. Yes, he has his inconsistencies at times, but he always finds a way to get the free throw line or get in the mid-range and make an impact out there. I just don't understand what is happening here because it doesn't make any sense, in my opinion.
We had played all them that was killing, getting 30 a game. We had beat Isaiah Thomas. We had swept Joe Johnson, all them. We had seen that. We hadn't seen Bron. Like, he was getting 35, but it was a 35.
It's funny. He brings up LeBron James and says, we never seen Bron. You played in the same Eastern Conference, and you had games you faced each other during the regular season. And even during that season, nobody took the Hawks serious. Everyone was like, when they get to the playoffs, the Cavs are going to destroy them. That was everybody's mindset. The Hawks were a nice regular season team, but they didn't have star power. Yes, their guys made the All-Star team, like Korver, Al Horford. I think Millsap made it. Jeff Teague made it as a replacement for Dwayne Wade. But again, the players on that team, I think it was Millsap who averaged the most points at 16 points a night. He's a good player, but there's levels to this. So when you hit the playoffs and you're running into star power, you've got no shot because you're not on that level. That's not being disrespectful. Those are just the facts, in my opinion.
Couldn't do nothing with him. He was too big. He was bigger than our power forward.
It's a fire young team, though, bro. This Thunder team is pretty good, bro.
Yeah, but
they
about 8 deep,
bro. They defense.
He got
they're about 8 deep, bro.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real.
Chet is a hell of an X factor, bro.
He is. He good.
Cheddar Paul Millsap.
Yeah, I would took Paul every day on him. Like we sweet. Yeah, that's sweet. Al Horford and Hartenstein. What the?
Hartenstein ain't bad.
Bro,
Man, with Al Horford, he's still playing. Al Horford 43. He's still playing.
I'm not saying.
No, shout out to the Islands, bro. But
Hartenstein will be there though.
Yeah,
it's not
pick
and roll to
shit,
death,
bro.
man. We are pick and rolling him to death, bro. What?
Who started off SGA? DeMar Carroll?
Yeah.
Y'all not just gonna.
He's gonna cook, bro. We will beat them, bro.
So Carroll is probably like the Jaden McDaniels, and we saw how that worked out for McDaniels on SGA. And then he brings up Hartenstein and Al Horford. Have you not watched Hartenstein crash the glass so much? Even in the matchups against the Celtics, he would destroy Boston when he played with the Knicks. I saw it a lot when they faced up, where he would just constantly get on the glass. Al Horford is good, but which Al Horford are we talking about here? Because that version back then was not a good three-point shooter. So how is the Hawks even going to score on this OKC defense? Because they can switch 1 through 5. You cannot hunt for a mismatch. That's what people don't realize about this defense. They're so good that you can't go out there and just say, okay, we're going to attack SGA. We're going to attack Lou Dort. We're going to attack J-Dub. It doesn't work that way because they're ball hawks. They force a ton of turnovers. They forced 19.2 this regular season, and they have the second best net rating of all time. Are the Hawks even in those conversations? No, they're not. So let's just stop. It's ridiculous what Jeff Teague's trying to push because, again, it's not going anywhere.
Hey,
We will beat them, bro.
I'm not saying y'all wouldn't be, but you saying like it'd be too easy.
It would, bro.
Nah,
The way we
no.
played.
No, bro.
Yeah.
Out of here. No.
No,
Put a
bro.
ball in move.
So SGA just scored. SGA scored way better than Joe Johnson.
Not way better.
He scored better.
He scored better though.
Barely.
He scored
We ain't
better.
gonna foul. First of all, we never foul. We was the best defensive team. We didn't foul. We was top 10 in defense. We didn't foul. We didn't put people on the line.
No, but that 2014,
Especially
15,
Joe
Joe Johnson
being
wasn't
Brooklyn,
even there though.
Yeah.
That's a
Joe
different
wasn't
Joe,
even
too.
there. That's
That
Kyle
ain't Atlanta,
Korver.
Joe.
What do you mean?
2014, 15, Joe wasn't on your
Nah, he
team.
said they
We beat them. He was in
Joe
Brooklyn. We
was
swept
a
them.
different-
First off, Jeff Teague's not telling the truth because the Brooklyn Nets took that Atlanta Hawks team to 6 games as the 8th seed. That's why nobody took this team serious. So when there's a regular season team that's doing really well and people are saying, well, this is the Atlanta Hawks all over again, there's a reason why you're being compared in that fashion. Because again, they're a nice team, but they're not on the same level as OKC. OKC would destroy them. It wouldn't even be a series. So let's just be serious for a moment and look at these matchups. Carroll on SGA. SGA is going to eat. Hartenstein on Horford. He's still going to win those rebounding battles. Chet on Millsap. My goodness, Chet will destroy him. He'll put him out at the three-point line or be able to use his athleticism to dunk on him. I know he's skinny, but Chet will still dominate that matchup. And how is Millsap going to score on these guys? Because again, they can pack the paint. They can focus on Kyle Korver. They can dare Carroll to shoot from the three. Let me pull up the Atlanta Hawks shooting because this is where things get very interesting. So let's take a look at the shooting from the Atlanta Hawks. In the regular season, great, 38% from the three. Paul Millsap at 35.6, Jeff Teague 34.3, Horford 30.6 from three. That's in the regular season. Carroll 39.5, Korver almost 50%. Awesome. Dennis Schroeder 35.1, Mike Scott 34%. John Jenkins, 40%. So these guys were knocking down shots. Mike Muscala, 40.9%. Bazemore, Austin Day, they shot well from three. But again, they only took 26. Let's go to the postseason and see how the numbers look. Again, 31.7%. That's a huge drop-off. So you mean to tell me if you shot like this against OKC, you're going to sweep them? No chance. You're getting swept and destroyed. Games won't even be close, in my opinion. And you see the drop-off in percentages. Jeff Teague, his three-point percentage went down. Millsap's goes down. Horford goes down. Korver goes down. As you can see, these guys are not superstar players. The guy leading them in points is Jeff Teague at 16.8 a night. You think that's going to get it done? They only got 98 in the playoffs. OKC does that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They hold opponents to points that you're like, man, how are you going to score on them? The Hawks would have no shot. And who can score off the dribble? Jeff Teague, yeah. You could say Paul Millsap. But how much success would Millsap have with that speed? Same as Schroeder. I think Schroeder would be pretty good. But outside of that, who's putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket? You're going to rely on Al Horford? I mean, sure, he can get some post-ups, but he's not Jokic. You saw how much the Denver Nuggets struggled against this defense. And they had a size advantage. And Jokic had some bad games. So you really think the Hawks would have some success? They would get punished. It would be a disaster, and it would just not work out really well for the Hawks.
Yeah,
He still was averaging 25.
Yeah, but it was just different, bro.
All right, they had Darren Williams too.
He was different, bro.
Joe Johnson in the 2014-15 season was averaging 14.4 points a game. In the postseason, he went to 16.5 points a game. So you're just making stuff up, and it doesn't make sense.
There's a movement in that locker room.
I'm just saying, bro. We had faced them. John Wall and Brad Beal. They was young as hell.
Yeah, nah, I feel that.
They was
But
a dynamic
wasn't
duo.
OKC. They team wasn't as good as OKC.
Nah, bro.
Mm.
Man,
Hey,
I'm
what?
not saying y'all wouldn't have beat them, but you act like you was gonna sweep these bro.
Hey,
OKC about to win.
John Wall, bro. It's
They never gonna win.
Hey, it's bad. The Pacers about to go to the final.
Oh, so now we're going to compare eras. Are we joking here now that NBA is bad? I mean, this is a old take to me. When you see a historic team dominating, OKC has 54 double-digit wins. That's the most in any regular season. The second highest net rating. You can't just ignore that and say, oh, we're just going to beat them easily. They're not that good. We'll pick a roll Hartenstein all night. You really want to do this? The Hawks will get destroyed. This is not a conversation. This is not even a good take. But, man, this stuff is not making any sense right now.
We got nothing to this conversation. Don't put us in this
It ain't no
conversation, bro.
shade, but I'm just saying. Y'all talking about
He said the NBA is back.
sweep the Pacers.
Yeah, we talking about that. That's why we at 320 like that, man.
I'm just saying,
When niggas
bro.
start doing shit like, we came to straight, now we the rappers,
Bro, I'm
man.
just saying, bro.
This, man.
He get mad. I said,
Nah, 'cause disrespectful. Like, niggas like them is, bro.
we not.
Come
No,
on,
I'm
bro.
just saying it's not.
See?
Y'all could win, bro.
We not
Probably,
saying
but
y'all
I'm
went
saying you
over.
act like you said y'all gonna sweep them, bro. That's crazy,
Bro, they might win a game, bro. For bro.
4-6.
No, I swear it wasn't, bro.
You
No.
not, bro. Y'all
Cause
was- but
Yeah,
damn,
bro.
bro.
I'm
OKC
telling you the
good,
truth.
too.
The Wizards was better than them,
No,
bro.
they wasn't.
Yes, they was,
No, they
bro.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So now he's saying the Washington Wizards were better than his OKC team. I just don't understand why we have to go this far to discredit how good this OKC team is. Like, I understand you might not like them. You might hate the foul bait. You might hate the fact they built such a good roster because their GM knows how to draft and develop talent and put this roster together, make good trades, and sign the right pieces around SGA, J-Dub, and Chet. Like, how is that his fault? That's what I don't like about NBA discourse sometimes, because when a franchise actually builds things correctly, they start discrediting and say, oh, well, they're not that good. They're overrated, because they start comparing to other eras. When the reality is they just know how to build a good roster. I mean, that's basketball 101. Like, build a good team, and you can start contending and winning championships. It's really that simple.
That was today. John Wall was the same kind of aggressiveness as SGA, bro. He was a hell to guard, bro. Bradley Beal was averaging 25. Paul Pierce was still killing, bro. What are y'all talking about?
They wasn't cold.
Marcin Gortat was better than Hartenstein. What are we talking about?
Gortat screen.
What are we talking
But the
about?
Wizards was not.
Oh, look at that splitty. Martell Webster, Drew Gooden,
Bro,
Chris Humphrey.
They was
the one player.
Bro, we used to play them, bro. They was just as good,
Porter. Bryce Jr.
I'm not going.
Otto Porter was hooping back then, bro. He got 100 million.
I'm not going against you, bro. I'm just.
Hey, John, I ain't gonna let them do that to you. Niggas forget, bro. You had this. SGA didn't have that. You was Kentucky. The league light now.
And about to get a chip.
Y'all just said the league is light. All the fire players are old now.
What does that have to do with SGA, though? You're trying to just diminish the young players because Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James are about to retire, and the league is now light. We're shifting away from the old resume. That's going to happen. And there's going to be great dominant players like a Wembanyama, like a Giannis who's still going to be around, a Jokic, an SGA, an Anthony Edwards, a Jason Tatum. I can go on. I just don't like that comparison because, again, we are moving on. You're going to say it's light. My dude, like, SGA is a great player. I love the fact he doesn't settle for the three. He actually is really good at getting to his spots, even when a defense is trying to pack the paint. He's still able to find spots out there. But hey, it's light. It's easy for him. Okay, I guess.
Bro,
I'm not going against you, bro, because you actually play and you know what you're talking about.
No shade,
We just said it's good. We're not saying they wasn't
no
good.
shade,
to sweep them, bro. You're not giving them a chance.
Think about Golden State, bro, with Klay Thompson. Bro, they will murder this team.
I'm with you on that.
With Klay Thompson, not even with KD. Not even with KD.
I give you that.
They blow this murder.
I don't disagree.
Bro, we was 1-1. We was number one overall, the whole league.
Number one in the whole NBA. It took you 6 games to beat the Nets, an 8th seed. An older Joe Johnson. Took you 6 games to beat the Wizards, and John Wall missed half the series. And then you got swept by a Cavaliers team without their second option for, like, I believe 3 games, and Kevin Love didn't play at all. Okay, you had a great regular season, but you're not that good. Those are just facts. Like, you've got no superstar talent. So even if you make the NBA Finals, the Warriors are probably going to smoke y'all. And then if I'm looking at rosters like the Denver Nuggets in 2023, they're smoking him because Jokic is so good out there. He'll just put Horford in a blender. We've seen it before. So again, I don't know what we're doing here. Saying, oh, the Warriors will beat them. Okay, I guess. We don't know. Like, that's an interesting matchup to look at. But to discredit OKC's dominance and to not acknowledge what you see in front of you is what bothers me. This team is fantastic from top to bottom. They don't have a lot of weaknesses. You could say they struggle on offense at times because they are streaky shooters from 3. That does happen. But every team has a weakness. But defensively, this team is elite, historic. But we're just going to ignore that because, I got to bring up my Hawks team and act like they're better. Nah, bro. That's just ridiculous.
We would have smacked these niggas, bro. Are you crazy? Because we don't play like how Anthony Edwards and them play. You couldn't prepare for. Only reason we couldn't beat Bron is because it was little Bron James. He's still all NBA at 40. But all that loading up to us, you gonna leave Kyle Korver?
First off, OKC would not leave Kyle Korver wide open. That's not going to be in their game plan. They will make sure there's a guy in his space at all times. They'll double check where he's running. They will make sure they don't leave him. They're always around him 24/7. They're stalking that guy. They're not leaving him alone. That's just a dumb thing to say. And it doesn't make any sense. No disrespect, but there's no way OKC, if they go up against the Atlanta Hawks, are going to sit there and say, yeah, let's leave Kyle Korver wide open. That's a great idea. No, that will not happen. Again, he brought up the 3-point shooting. The Atlanta Hawks only took 28 a game. I don't get what the logic is. I mean, dude, this just looks really bad. It looks like he's just hating on this team.
Yeah,
Y'all like that.
They couldn't. We would have put them in so many
But
pick
y'all
and
ain't had
rolls.
no Anthony Edwards for them to do that.
We
Y'all had
didn't.
more of a team. So
That's my whole point. That's why the Pacers are going to the finals, because they play like us.
There we go.
And they a weak version of us.
I'm not saying y'all wouldn't
Like,
win.
what the
I love the other.
No, bro.
That's my.
Take the Pacers to the finals. I'm
no,
gonna
bro. No. Like, you are.
So if the Indiana Pacers is a weaker version than the Atlanta Hawks team, which I don't agree with, if OKC goes out and destroys them, what do we say then? Because if you're saying you're better than them, what are you going to do against this OKC team? Because you don't have a superstar, like I said. You've got solid players and role players who are playing above their limits, and then we saw a drop-off in the playoffs. So how does it even register? Again, who's creating off the dribble? Jeff Teague. Okay, cool. Who else? Paul Millsap. But is he going to have success against a Chet? We just saw Julius Randle, who's about the same size as Millsap, struggle against OKC. What are we even doing here? Like, let's be for real here. We know OKC is going to sweep them. They would be heavy underdogs, and they would get mopped. And I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. These are just facts, man. I think of it like this. When the Boston Celtics, when they had Isaiah Thomas, I'm a Celtics fan. They went up against LeBron James in the conference finals. Like, I knew we had no chance. I was like, maybe we get a game. We did. But I was like, there's no way we'll even win in that series. Because I look at the matchup and go, of course the Cavs are so much better. That's not a bad thing to say. And it's not disrespectful. But man, dude, Jeff Teague, man, I just don't get it. Like, I don't know where this hate's coming from for OKC. It doesn't make sense. They do the right things, but whatever. People just want to have takes and go off and look really ignorant, in my opinion. And again, you could say, I don't know basketball. You could say this and that, but I look at the numbers in front of me. I look at the matchups, and this is a sweep easily for the Thunder. It's not even close. And maybe the Hawks get a game, maybe. But yeah, it's just, people saying things just to get attention and clicks and not having any sense, because you're bringing up John Wall and Joe Johnson saying, oh, we played these guys. Look how much we had to overcome. Yeah, you played an older Joe Johnson and you struggled in the first round. Took you 6 games to beat an 8 seed like that. You couldn't sweep them. And then when you played the Cavaliers, they weren't fully healthy and you got swept. Again, I'm not trying to discredit LeBron James. I'm just saying, like, you couldn't get a game or two after you had all those wins and you played the Cavaliers in the regular season. Couldn't get 1 or 2 games. Yeah, that's just not a good look. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what Jeff Teague had to say, claiming that his team would sweep the OKC Thunder. Do you think that's ludicrous, or do you think he makes sense? Love to hear your opinions. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys share the video as well. And I'll see you in the next one.